So I took some notes on some things that stood out to me first. Um, and let's see the things, a couple things I just want to state first before we actually go into your reading was that I see a lot of stuff around like family issues.
Man,
Um, I
talk
see,
about it.
yeah, we all got family issues, so you're not the only one. But I see a lot of things around family issues. I also see that it's some stuff around like issues or restrictiveness with like personality and like being seen and shining and notice basically.
1,000%.
Yeah, that stood out to me. You got like a couple different indications which we're gonna go through, which why I'm saying that. You know what I mean? But also your moon sign and your Mars sign are both in detriment. So I don't know. Are you familiar with the detriment?
Nah, so break that down for me.
Okay. It just basically means that it's not working optimal in the sign that it's in. It's not a favorable sign. So
Okay.
when we get to each sign, I'm gonna break it down even more. So yeah, the time you gave me was January the 15th, 1991 at 9:30 a.m.
Yep.
And I got Paradise Valley, Arizona.
Yep.
Okay, all right, cool. So any questions before we start?
Nope. I'm listen. I'm all ears. I love
All
to
right,
talk, so I'm gonna let you have it.
all right, copy. What do I want to start at? All right, so of course, this is your spiritual blueprint. It's basically this is like your manuscript in this lifetime. You know what I mean? That you following or that you need to follow. You know what I mean, to be in alignment. Um, the planets are what's happening. They can also denote certain people. And then you also have the signs. This is the way that the energy is expressed in terms of what's happening from the planets. And then, we also got 12 houses, which these are 12 areas of life. So we're going to start with your sun sign, then we'll go to the moon sign. And then we'll go from the ascendant all the way from houses 1 through 12. All right. So we'll start with your sun sign. When you were born, the sun was in Capricorn. Sun is the personality, it's the vitality, your ego, how you shine, basically. And it's also a representation of your father as well, too. So when we think about the energy of Capricorn suns, Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign. Now, the earth signs are about practicality, material manifestations, and then the cardinal signs are the start of each season. So basically, of course, you were born around the winter solstice. But then, for instance, you got Aries, which is basically the spring equinox. Cancer would be another cardinal sign, which is the summer solstice. And you got Libra, which is the fall or autumn equinox, and back to where you were born. So this is an initiating type of energy, basically, when your sun sign comes through this type of sign, basically, or zodiac sign. So, of course, Capricorn suns will make you very ambitious, very much. It's like a boss type of energy, authoritative. Um, Very practical, very much I would say like hardworking and a bit cautious and calculated and stuff. Now, when we think of Capricorn, it's the highest earth sign. So it's about rising to the occasion, basically. Being that your sun is in the 11th house, this is an Aquarius house. I'm sure you know that each of the signs are synonymous with a
Right.
certain zodiac sign.
Yeah.
So this would make you exemplify Capricorn slash Aquarius. Well, it's like having a Capricorn slash Aquarius soul, basically. And Aquarius is it's a air sign, of course. It's a fixed air sign.
Yeah.
Fixed signs are a bit more stuck in their ways. They stick to things a bit longer, stubborn at times. I'm a Taurus, so they say us Taurus are stubborn.
Yeah.
But
I get pinged for Aquarius all the time too. Like I'm like, nope, you off just a little bit though. Like I'm right there.
so yeah, but back to Aquarius. So Aquarius is I think I was saying it's a fixed sign, but it's also an air sign. And air signs are about the mind, intellect, and communication. Air signs or Aquarius just in general is very eccentric, very different, very unconventional, very progressive. A lot of times, like I say, your soul and your personality would exemplify this to where you bring forth these ideas that maybe aren't accepted by society, basically. Um, and a lot of people think that Aquarius is a water sign, but again, it's the air sign. They call it the
Yeah.
water bearer, but the reason why they say that, and when you look at like pictures of Aquarius, is because it's a man or a woman like holding a pitcher of water. But what that symbolizes is the ability for Aquarius people to contain the water element, and the water element is like emotion, so they could be a bit more detached, basically.
Okay.
Makes
sense.
Yeah. Now, of course, you're a Capricorn too, and Capricorn and Aquarius are both ruled by Saturn, so this would be like just restricted within that emotional nature as well too. But you're supposed to basically be like shining, and we talked about this before, but you're supposed to be shining
I know
amongst groups of people or like friends. You're supposed to be the authoritative person or the responsible and reliable one in this area. You know what I mean? Because your sun is coming through Capricorn, so that's boss energy. That's you being the reliable one. And then 11th house is just friends in general. Also, this house can symbolize technology. So this could be the internet. So this could be like you shining or being seen in this area, or any like groups, just networks of people, basically.
Right.
You're supposed to be that shining light, basically. We do see that. Let's see. We could talk about the moon sign. Let me just say this before I go to the moon. So we do see that Saturn is also making a conjunction to your sun sign. So again, this is one of the indications of why it could be harder to express yourself, or that shining ability, basically, being seen with Saturn here. Saturn means, you just have to work harder, basically. But it tells us that you could be a master in the area of life that is at. I'm gonna talk more about that when we come back around to 11th house. But let's talk about your moon sign. So moon in Capricorn off top. Moon is the mother. 4th house is too, but the moon is the mother in particular. So your mother is about her career, her she's about her status, or her reputation. This would have been like in your upbringing.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of It's also another indication because your 4th house is connected to the 10th house in terms of rulership. So this is the mother being deposited into career. But off top, moon in Capricorn, being the fact that your mother, she could have been trying to gain some type of or just be focused around her career. It's like, okay, you didn't necessarily get that emotional fulfillment. You're more restricted in this manner, basically, in this area. She could provide for you, material wise maybe, but sometimes it's that emotional connection is missing. This is why.
For sure.
Yeah, I get it. I have 100%. A similar. Go ahead. I'm listening.
No, just 100%. Like,
yeah, I get it. I have
I wanted materialistic. Anything I wanted material, like anything. But her time, you thought.
Yeah. Nope. A lot of times I like to say too is that a lot of the shit that we going through is passed down to us. So it's like,
yeah,
a lot of times our family or our mother, our father, they was just trying to do the best they maybe knew how to. You know what I mean? Sometimes they didn't know a lot of shit too. But one thing I want to say though is that you're supposed to be, again, since the moon is family in the home, you're supposed to be the responsible one in the structure of your family, basically.
I am.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're reading me like a book right now.
Oh, so you get emotional fulfillment through, again, since it's in the 11th house, this is just friends, groups of people. But the moon is constantly waning and waxing. So whatever house it's in is going to be ups and downs in this area, basically. But you want to nurture others, as well. Let's talk about your sun sign making a conjunction to your moon sign. This is a very interesting energy because normally it tells us that sun is the personality, it's your soul, your identity. Moon is your feelings, your emotions. So it tells us that it's on one accord, basically. Sometimes I would say like it's like a conflicting thing that is shown in your chart, but normally I just would like say that you're in alignment with your emotions. So I would think that people know how you feel, or on one end I would think that Pluto here can change the dynamic, but sometimes it can show forth for being like honest emotionally, wearing your heart in your sleeves. But with this Pluto dynamic, you got sun and moon making a sextile to Pluto. This can kind of change that to where it's like, okay, you're more private with your feelings.
Yeah.
You may be more private. And a lot of times it stems from our mother and father dynamic. It shows that you would have had some type of crisis with both of these
Yeah.
individuals.
Ooh,
Some crisis, power struggles, manipulation here, vindictiveness. That's all the energy of Pluto here.
that's was my entire upbringing. Like
Yeah,
that ass.
I get it.
Ooh,
Um, it's not always easy, but what it does is, you know, when we think about the sun, for instance, since it's leading back to the sun, sun is the light, right? And then Pluto is the furthest planet from the sun, so it represents the element of darkness. So this is kind of will give you scorpionic vibes to where it's like, okay, you come off as more private. You may feel like you have to protect yourself and your upbringing from father, and it could be the mother too, because you would have had this type of energy.
yeah.
The ninth house tells us about your father as well too. When we get to the ninth house, we'll talk more about it, but it's kind of the same energy because you got Pluto in that house and Scorpio here. So I know some type of issues in this area, or just some
Yeah, like I had
uh,
a psychic reading done on my birthday on Saturday for the first time. I've never done it. And I
okay.
was already like in my mind, like just the last couple weeks, I've been thinking about like what happened to me when I was a child, just because I don't remember the first 5 years of my life. She brought it up. The psychic brought it up and was like, "Your dad did something," like like it's. And I kind of already knew, like I already knew because of how I am in relationships. I'm real bad. Like I get manipulative because I just you know what I mean? Like it's just a lot, but I found out, so I was like actually able to like heal and like understand a whole lot. Like, it was a lot to get over, but once I'm able to like heal it and see it
Mhm.
all, I don't care how bad it is. Cause I was like, my girl was like, no, I don't want to see anything bad. Like if you don't tell me nothing too bad, like, and I was like, no, I don't care how bad it is. I need to know it all. Like you need to break it down. And she just said that. So I was just all the like the father stuff, like that's where I was just like, that's what hit me when you said it too. So I was like, ooh, we getting down to the healing.
Yeah.
So for you to offer this, I was just like, oh my God, yes. Like, and anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna let you do your thing because
Nah,
I
go
get
ahead. I'm
carried
listening. I'm
away.
listening.
I was just
I'm,
like, whoo,
go ahead.
it's just crazy. Like, yeah, it was just hella crazy. Like it made so much sense. Like I see now why I'm so like standoffish once I'm like sexual with a man. Like I'll be hella cool with someone, but as soon as I'm like I open up to you, I completely like a wall goes up emotionally and like you get like this fake character because I'm too afraid to like really give you myself. But I kind of did. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like I don't like
Nah, I get it.
I'm trying to figure this shit out because I don't want to go through no more cycles. And I don't want to hurt nobody too. Like, like just, yeah. Man.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. It's just, with Pluto making an aspect to your sun, you're supposed to actually be going through transformations. You're supposed to be, and you know what it's
What I've
saying?
been holding back from. That's why I caught so many blocks because I just been running from the transformation. I've been running like just
Nah,
ugh.
you can't. It's a part of
I
your journey. That's
know.
what it's saying.
I
Yeah.
know.
But what I would tell you is that, remember I said Pluto represents the element of darkness. It's the furthest
Yeah.
planet from the sun. Now you're supposed to you want to be a shining light to others who are, because you coming from the mud. That's what it's basically saying.
So I gotta use this to like, help everybody else through because man,
Yeah, because you the boss.
I'm a
You got too
fucking
much
goat,
energy.
man. I'm a
Yeah,
fucking goat. I need to stop playing. Like
yeah. You just
that's what
gotta know
she
your.
said too in the psychic reading. She was like, most people come to 3 crossroads in their life. She was like,
Mhm.
you're at 7. She's like, you are not a cat.
Yeah,
I was like, shoot, I was just, yep, yep. Like, I've been on the wrong path for a really long fucking time. I don't even know how I've made it work.
it's all good though. It's all good. But your soul is basically on the path of evolution. That's what it's basically saying. But you always want to exemplify the positive aspects of the Plutonic energy because Pluto represents literally the underworld. So this could be you actually shining in areas that deal with criminality. But I wouldn't necessarily advise that. Oh, last thing I want to say, Neptune making a conjunction to the moon tells us that you're unclear on your family. Certain things you don't know about your mother, your family, your upbringing.
That's been the
Um,
theme the last like 2 years. That's crazy. It's been
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Let's move forward. All right, so let's go to your
No, you're good.
ascendant sign. So ascendant, is basically how we act. Um, that's one way I think of it. Because each of the planets kind of are associated with a house too, and is this this house deals with Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars, so Mars are actions that we take. So it represents how we act. It's like the lens that we see the world as well, and how others see us as well, and like the physical appearance and self as well. That's how you could look at it. So you got, of course, Pisces here. So your Pisces ascendant. So whenever Pisces comes into this first house, this tells us that you're how do I say it? You're very like sacrificial, very giving, basically. You can be very compassionate.
Accurate.
One thing I like to say though is that Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Neptune is like Hollywood energy. It's illusions, fantasies, dreams. So when we think about Hollywood and the entertainment industry, which is what it rules over, it's smoke and mirrors. So it can show that, you know, you can also put up this type of energy, basically. But a lot of times you're more than what meets the eyes, basically. So, you know, you just want to be mindful, because also Pisces is an energy that wants to merge with others. So you want to be mindful of if you are trying to merge with others and being very compassionate, or just, you want to be, since it's mutable water, you want to just be mindful about doing too much to fit in, basically, with this energy here.
Okay.
Also, you could be very sensitive. Yeah, you could be very sensitive too. So it's like you
That's
may
what she
find
said
that.
too. Sorry, she said I was like a follower. She was like, "Why do you follow so many people? Like you're the path people want to follow. Like, why are you following people? Like, what are you doing?" Like I was like, I always have been wanting to fit in, and like no one chose me as a child. Like I've always been trying to like see like. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It's right. It's right. That's interesting though, how it's aligning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
But yeah, you
all the
should.
dots are connected.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You know, what was I trying to say? I lost my train of thought.
My bad. Like
Okay, so yeah, just be mindful of fitting in, being mindful of deception, all that. As you do have that type of energy, but being that you're very sensitive with Pisces in the first house, this can show also being prone to escapism, because you may feel like you soak up other people's energies too.
Mm-hmm.
So again, if you are escaping, and we can see that from your Venus in the 12th, you know, you love like retreat, you love isolation, basically. Just always make sure that you're trying to more so go towards the path of the positive side of these energies. So this would be, as opposed to escaping through alcoholism and drugs.
Right.
You want to use the spirituality part. You want to use the Pisces rules over creativity and arts, poetry. These are the things that you want to tap more so into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As opposed to the negative side.
Mm-hmm. That's accurate too. I've been reading a lot more and shit, like just journaling a lot more, just trying to get myself back right, like, you know, the healthy habits.
Yeah. What else? Oh, your outlook on life is basically from a spiritual point of view and or religious, but you seem more spiritual, basically, with this energy here. Since this is the physical appearance as well, it can make you, a lot of times from what I've seen from Pisces ascendants, is like a dreamy look, basically. It's like a dreamy look. Sometimes being like, seem like caught between this realm and higher realms, basically.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm looking at my notes right here because I took some notes, and so I just want to make sure. I think that's pretty much it for that. Let's see. Let's look at the aspects to the Senate, because this is going to also tell us more about your, you know, how you act and all that. The energy you give off. So you got Mercury making a sextile. It looks like, yeah, sextile to your ascendant. So you come off as this is like the energy of like coming off as very it could be like outgoing, expressive, or like communicative, a bit chatty, and youthful, basically, in terms of appearance. This can show forth actually changing appearances as well too. And then it's interesting because you got Mars making a square to your ascendant. So this tells us that you know, Pisces is more passive, right? But there's a side to also how you come off that's that Martian type of energy that's more like independent, could be like a leader, maybe a bit selfish, but a go-getter as well on the positive side, and a pioneer. But it's saying that it's a bit of a struggle with how you come off, basically, because on one end you can come off more passive, but then this is an energy that's like more aggressive or just straightforward, independent. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's about, you know, trying to figure out how do we integrate these sides of ourselves. You know what I mean? Okay. With this, because the squares, of course, are tension and struggle within our personalities and stuff in our psyche. Let's go to chart rulers. So chart ruler is basically the planet that rules over the ascendant sign. And Pisces is ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. So we look to see what houses these are actually in. And this is going to tell us an emphasis in this lifetime for you, basically. It's like where you, in your soul evolution, where you're basically spending a lot of time. So 11th house, it's about your dreams towards like, again, being that authority figure, being that boss. Because 11th house is also goals, aspirations, basically. Okay. So it's about your dreams centered around here, with it coming through Neptune, and also just like, again, friends, groups of people. You have a stellium in Capricorn and in the 11th house. Stellium is 3 or more planets. Okay. So that makes an emphasis as well. Also, another focal point for your life would be like your growth and your daily routines and your work, basically. This is an emphasis in this area too, like maybe not emphasis, but it's like a definitely an important part as well. This house also deals with service as well. So some form of service as well. Yeah, so let's go to the second house. Second house is in Aries, right? So second house tells us about what you value. Off top, you would value like independence. You could value, again, being a leader, being a go-getter, which is all Aries type of energy. And wherever Aries is at in our chart is basically where we have more like initiating energy. We could actually like fight in this area, basically. Mars sign tells us too, but Aries here tells us that you can either fight. You're either the type that fights for your money or fights to get to the money, basically. Okay. Like you're enterprising and initiating in this area of life. Being that you're doing that, what I like to do, because we're looking at energy, so I like to just give examples of ways that you can basically make money that falls upon this sign. So Aries, of course, is like a warrior energy. So this is literally like the military, as an example. Sports, boxing, well, combat sports, but
I have a boxer's fracture.
What happened?
I have a boxer's fracture.
You was in a boxer?
Not professionally.
Okay. Let me find out you got them hands or something.
I used to. I put them up on the shelf. Okay. They're there though.
Got you. Aries rules over the head, so this can be hat makers. This can be literally like opticians. This can be hairdressers. In terms of ways of making money. It rules over weapons. So being like a butcher, being a surgeon as well too, because that's like cutting, which is all what Aries energy can deal with. And let's see, in terms of possessions, because this can tell us about possessions, this house. So possessions can actually fall upon like same thing like weapons. Like, I don't know, you might have like knives, guns, you know, you might have darts or some shit.
That's on point.
What happened?
That's on point.
That's all what?
That's on point.
Okay, yeah. You might have that on you. You know what I mean? I gotta watch out for you.
Always. I mean,
yeah, I'm fucking with you. But yeah, these are things that we can possess. Let's see, what else do I want to say? Your second house is the ruler of your second house. Mars is sitting in the third house, so this can show you valuing communication. It can show you valuing. This house deals with our immediate neighborhood, so it can show you valuing your neighborhood.
That makes sense.
It can show you valuing. This house deals with neighbors, relatives, aunts, uncles. I do see that you probably possibly would have had some type of issues here.
When you got
Mars, huh?
I had a lot of issues in the neighborhood. I just moved.
Yeah. When you got Mars here, Mars is the god of war. So
yeah.
I'm gonna break that down in a second what that actually means. But these are things that you can actually value. But also you can make money through third house is media, any form of media communications, writing, journalism, things of that nature. We do see that your 10th house has Mercury here too, so this could be a way of making money through the same thing. Just as an example. Um, let's go to your third house. So third house is our thinking. It's our communications. The Mercury sign is too, but it's interesting how you have Earth on your third house, which is thinking and communication, and you got Capricorn, Mercury and Capricorn too. So I'm gonna have to explain what these mean, but yeah, this house represents thinking, communications. It represents neighborhood, like I said. It represents how you move about on short distance travels. It talks about, again, siblings, aunts. In particular, though, it would be, well, relatives in general, but in particular, if you have do you have a younger sibling?
I don't. I was a twin when I was born. I mean, he died at birth, but I was the older twin, and I have two older brothers. But as far as I know, I'm the youngest.
Okay.
That's alive.
Yeah. So 11th house is more so like elder siblings, in particular your first.
Yeah, I have two older brothers.
Okay, so this would be your first older brother, then the first house would be your second older brother. But this can be a general theme too of your relationship with them two, third house. So let's talk about thinking and communications. Excuse me if I'm looking at my notes, but
No, you're good.
okay, so when you have Taurus here, right? It tells us that you think about security. Again, you think about your money, your resources, basically, which is all what Taurus represents. Finances, basically. One thing I like to say though is that whenever we have Taurus on this third house, and we think about also our mindset, it tells us that you can it's interesting because on one end it's like this calls for like slower thinking, slower process of the mind, even communications. Not necessarily meaning you're slow, but just meaning like the way, you know, Taurus is a slow moving sign. So it's in a house that represents communication. So this is how the mind will work. Mars here kind of changes that to a certain degree though, because Mars is impulsive, action oriented thinking. But yeah, it's just more so with Taurus here, slower.
There's a lot of unrest around that topic, like my mind not being able, like I feel like sometimes my mind goes like it works slow, but it's moving fast. So like the impulsiveness, like the stuff that I do end up expressing, I don't usually even want to. Like it's just like that's not even it. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. What else did I want to say about Taurus? And while we on communication, let me just jump back up to Mercury real quick.
Yep.
So Mercury and Capricorn, excuse me, in the 10th house, it just tells us that Mercury and Capricorn on top is like you can communicate in an authoritative manner, but a lot of times it tells us that off top your learning process is step by step, more routine, especially with Taurus and Capricorn here. There also would have been some type of delays in learning, and this could be through like either speech impediments or early learning disabilities, but normally it's like some type of restriction that we go through, because Capricorn is that restrictive energy. What else do I want to say? Also, this can show forth for being a bit cautious in the things that you communicate about, you know, especially if we had a harder time learning. But it does show forth for you being like I said, you think like a boss. You think about being the reliable one in your career. That's what it's basically saying with it coming through. You think responsibly with Mercury and Capricorn in 10th house. Now let's jump back down. I'm gonna get off communication for a second. I'm just gonna jump to this subject. So early education, Taurus represents finance actually. So this can show up as that, or like Taurus deals with like gardening, since it's like an earth sign. Taurus rules over the actual throat when we think about the body. So this can actually literally mean like being a musician, a singer. Third house is just that early education. Ninth house is post high school, basically education. Okay. What else? Got Taurus on the third house. Oh, you do like a element of stability and security with neighbors, with within your neighborhood, within siblings off top. You would like some type of you like to be more stable in this area. But again, you got Mars here, so this changes the dynamic to a degree. this tells us that it's some type of conflict you would have had, either fights and quarrels, or just you attract people, neighbors, again, relatives, siblings that are a bit more selfish. It's going to play out in one of these ways, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So in return, you can move more independently in this manner as well. That's what it's basically saying.
Okay.
Now, when we jump back to communication, excuse me for jumping around, but
it's good.
What I want to say is that Mars in the third house, this calls for that. I said action oriented communication and speaking, but it tells us that you could be very blunt and like very direct too with how you communicate. When we think about Mars, it rules over Aries. Aries is the first sign. So Aries is basically a baby. And babies, what do? Babies say stuff without thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You're not thinking of a million ways that shit can go. So, it tells us that your words can be like this, very honest, but very direct and blunt. And you can get to the point, basically. But your words and your mouth can get you in the shit, basically.
Yeah.
and another thing, too, is you'll argue with a motherfucker when you got Mars in this third house. You will argue with a motherfucker, like, if they,
Yeah.
Yeah. I got my Mercury's in Aries, so it's the same energy. I know, I could be kind of.
They be mad when I be slick at the mouth, and then I got hands too. Like
yeah, I got the same type of energy, so I get it. Sometimes I'll be too blunt, or just I'll be saying shit that's not appropriate sometimes, and I don't mean to hurt nobody's feelings.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Yeah, so let's see. You got Mars and Taurus. So Mars and Taurus, we also gotta delineate that. Mars is your anger. Right? It's your anger. Again, it's your actions, how you act. It's in a woman's chart, it's going to be the ideal guy that's you're drawn to. So he'll have, of course, Taurus qualities, and he'll have Gemini qualities. Gemini is very witty, very intellectual, very much a jack of all trades. You know what I mean? And then that Taurus energy is just, about they grind, about they about stability, about getting to the paper. You know what I mean? This could be what you're physically drawn to, the qualities in terms of it. Jupiter is the ideal husband for you. It was good for you, but this is just
it's in Leo.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about what that means. What that could mean when we get there. But
okay.
Mars and Taurus, it actually is in detriment. So this makes you a bit more slower to act, basically. Taurus wants to take his time, but Mars wants to go. You know what I mean? Yeah, Mars and Taurus. Also anger, you're a bit more slower to become angered. But when you get going, that charging bull wants to, go, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Trying to think what else. I would think too, though, that even like in sex and intimacy, you may take your time, would just be a bit more slow in this area. I do see you like fairness, though. Mm-hmm. Like balance and harmony with people you're intimate with.
Yeah.
But Mars and Taurus, I would think, it's a bit more like slower in this area with sexual expression and stuff. But
that's accurate.
I'm trying to think what else. Let me see something. Oh, you also, one thing about you too is that your Mars sign is making a trine 120 degrees, give or take, to the moon and the sun. So this calls for, even though you're a bit more slower to move, you have a lot of active energy. You want to find an outlook, or not an outlook, what's the word I want? You want to find some way, some medium to express that energetic type of energy that you have within you, basically. Because it could cause for competitiveness as well too. But you have a lot of energy, so this could be through sports that you use. It could be through directing it in your career. But you need to basically, it's like you're very energetic with this. You want to win. You got a lot of willpower. Let's move on. Let's move on to the fourth house. Fourth house in Gemini. Fourth house in Gemini is, besides the moon sign, it's your mother.
Okay.
So it's your mother, your emotions, your family, your upbringing, ancestry, lineage, and it also will tell us about latter part of life, basically. So we'll start with more about your mother. This makes her come off as youthful in her either her appearance or just like her energy.
Oh
Um,
yes, she's a child at heart.
yeah, Gemini is a very youthful energy. Um, but she could be secretive.
Oh, she's secretive too.
Yeah. What happened?
She's a lot. She's all over the place with it.
That's the twins, Jack of all, that Gemini energy.
Yes,
Twins.
and she's a Gemini moon and a Scorpio rising with a Libra sun, so she's all over the place.
Wow. I think you did tell me that, but that's interesting. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
she's all over the place.
That's definitely interesting. You said she was a Scorpio, what?
A Scorpio rising with a Gemini moon and a Libra sun.
Okay, that's interesting.
It's interesting for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see. What else do I see? Okay, so if we want to think about your upbringing as well, Gemini represents change. So it shows a change within your upbringing. Gemini is literally, we know, is the twin, so it's like two different homes you could have came up in. I don't know if that was the dynamic, but usually that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it can show, communication being prevalent within the home of some sort. Now, Gemini is a fickle energy, so it's not always the deepest connection with family, but it can just show like communications in this area. Even what you
surface level communication.
Yeah, it could be that too. It could definitely be that. Let me see something. Something I wrote here. Oh, what I found was interesting is that you could be, again, kind of like private with how you feel with this Pluto making an aspect to your moon, but then it's like this is normally would tell us with Gemini on this fourth house that you're expressive about how you feel. So that's kind of like I don't know,
With the
how
right
does that
people,
feel?
with the right people, like that's my issue. Is like I get myself into trouble because I want to fit in a lot, and I find myself wanting to, or just being around people that make me feel better, but really like I end up not being able to express myself or holding back because I've expressed to the wrong people. But that's what I've been working on, is like when I get my people, I want to express, like I want to, open up and everything. But yeah, it's just I end up doing it. I've done it to the wrong people for so long that I need to fix that. But yeah.
Yeah, we all go through that shit, you know what I mean? It's not just you. Um ancestry lineage. Ancestry lineage is just like Gemini is broadcasting, like we said before, it's just communications. Media is what you could have had ancestors that were actually into. Also, too, since this is what goes on within the home, you might have seen me say before that Gemini is a student type of energy. So it's showing that this is what's going on within the home. It could be, I don't know if you're into like learning or researching.
That's all I
but,
do.
Yeah, but that could be prevalent within the home as well. And then also too, what I like to say is that this is the latter part of life, so it shows you being an intellectual. It shows you being a student. Even as you get older, basically constantly learning.
Well, that's good.
Now, you seen me talk about polarities before.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of times, like what I like to do is just basically jump back and forth, right? So a lot of times, you're learning within the home, you're studying. So in your career, your reputation, you come off as the teacher, basically, philosopher. You could, what I mean?
Okay.
In your career, this is kind of like the energy that could be prevalent here.
Okay.
Third house, if we go back to third house, you may be a bit more stubborn in the things that you think about and even in your mind set. So it's saying, ninth house is like you got to transform your beliefs, basically.
Yeah.
You got to dive deeper into the things you believe about and investigate.
For sure.
Because you can be a bit stubborn in your mindset, basically. Second house is our values, our resources, our own resources. So you could be moving independently in this manner to get to this money. So if you're doing that, then you need to be a bit more fair, diplomatic, which is all Libra, harmonious in your intimate life. Or if we're looking at it in opposite manner, if you're being overly fair in the eighth house, which is other people's resources, sharing your own resources, if you're being too like fair with even in like intimacy, then you need to be a bit more selfish with
My resources.
Yeah,
Okay,
basically that's what it's saying. Now, if we
gotcha.
go to, we talked about this before, but if you go to your first house, you come off as the giver. You come off as very like the savior, the sacrificial one. Again, you may want to fit in, or you don't know yourself. So it's like, okay, well, you need opposite that in your relationships. You need to work on, Virgo is working. You need to work on how you're relating to others in your relationships.
Okay.
So that's just how usually we look at it.
I like how
Um,
you get. I like how you express that. Like I need to work on how I or relate to others. I like that.
yeah. Um, that's one thing I just kind of came to the conclusion. I didn't really have nobody teach me that, but it was kind of more so just I stumbled across when I started learning how the energies play out.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Fourth house is connected to the 10th house, which we said that means your mother is another indication of career with her. Is there anything else I want to say for Gemini before we move on? Let's go to fifth house. Fifth
Okay.
house is interesting for you.
Man, it sure is.
Yeah, fifth house is like self-expression. It's our personality because this is, even though you're a Capricorn sun, this house rules over. I mean, excuse me, the sun rules over the fifth house and like Leo basically. So again, this is how we express ourselves. So you come off as the mother, you come off as the nurturer, you come off as you have like that bit sensitive as well too. When we think of Cancer, it's the crab. So the crab has a harder exterior but a softer inner nature. So this is how you can come off with basically your personality, your
Mhm.
soul as well. Um Now, one thing I want to say that this house deals with dating, romance, and it deals with our children as well. So you have these same type of energies within this sphere. So you could be a bit more um protective about those you date. And again, you want to be more like uh same thing, like nurturing, just motherly within this area. You may find that you feel like the mother of people that you date, basically.
What I've turned out to be a lot of the time.
Yeah. That's the energy that's prevalent here. You know what I mean? It's that maternal type of
Terrible.
energy. Yeah. Um, what else? So the thing that stood out with this is that you have Chiron. You know about Chiron?
Hmm.
Huh?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you got Chiron in the fifth house in Cancer. So let's look at the sign first. This is one of the indications where I say, okay, I know there was some issues around family and your upbringing with the mother. It's a spiritual wound in this area of life. Wherever we see Chiron, we need to basically embody this energy in the area of life. So the story of Chiron you might have heard before, but it's like, okay, Chiron was a centaur. The centaurs were very barbaric, but Chiron was a more civilized centaur. Centaurs are, half man, half horse, basically, kind of similar to like Sagittarius or whatever. But Chiron helped a lot of people within the pantheon. He couldn't help heal himself though. He ended up getting wounded. So it represents a spiritual wound that we have a harder time healing, but we can help others heal in this area of life. So we said it's the home, the family. But at the same time, it's in again self-expression, which is the fifth house. Fifth house is how you shine, identity. What you need to do is embody Cancerian energy, which is nurturing yourself. You need to heal in this area with nurturing yourself, and this could play out in a multitude of ways. This could be through Cancer can rule over like it's a nurturing energy and a healing energy, but it can rule over this may be like sound therapy, like music, basically, or maybe getting into psychology, getting into um, how do I want to say it? It could be like this any. I'll just say like this, any form of healing work. This
Okay.
is what I would definitely suggest. And also, one thing that stood out to me is this wound around shining, being seen. This may stem from past lives because it's making a conjunction to your South Node, past life energy.
Oh, I never. Okay.
You know, it's also what else do I want to say about that? Oh, another thing too. Usually Chiron is going to show up as a spiritual wound for the person that the house represents. So it's coming through in your dating life. It's coming through like romantic partners. And it's also coming through. You have children?
No,
Okay.
I
So
have. I've been pregnant, but I've never had no children.
okay. So, but yeah, if you have a child, you want to make sure that you heal yourself. I would say in particular first because this house is again our self. It's our self expression. Aries, I mean, first house is kind of like the self too, but this is a representation of our personality. So if you're not healed, it is showing that you'll have a spiritual wound with this child, basically.
Okay.
So you want to definitely heal yourself. So if you ever bring a seed into this world,
Yeah.
basically you're not,
I don't want them to heal from me. Like they don't want to,
yeah, you may have a spiritual wound in this area with this child though. But one thing I do want to say though is that you're not necessarily, and my elder used to tell me this, you're not necessarily bound to what's in this birth chart. So just because we see all these things all these struggles that we go through, don't feel like you're just the end of life. Your Chiron is making an opposition to the sun and the moon. So it's basically saying that your spiritual wound with nurturing, like your personality is kind of basically an obstacle because also you want to be seen in the opposite area of life, which is like friends, and you're also getting emotional fulfillment through your friends. So it's kind of like a seesaw effect to where it's like you got to find a way to balance out yourself amongst others and then healing yourself basically. You know what I mean? That's what you got to basically, because you have energy in both areas. And also let's see, let's just jump right to your south node. So south node is where we're more comfortable at. Again, it represents past life energy. It's in the 5th house. It's very close to the 6th, but it's like you're more were you well known?
What do you mean?
Not really. Like, because 5th house can represent like the stage too, even though like
I used to be a model.
Okay.
Like I was, I guess, I was well known.
Okay. 5th house can represent that. It can represent again, romantic partners.
All my romantic partners, I feel like all the scenarios that happened were blasted. Everybody knew about it. Like everybody where I grew up knew everybody. So it was just like this big, it was like my whole life was a fucking Netflix movie and I wasn't getting paid for it to be aired. Like, and everybody's just watching my shit. Like, it's just, damn.
Or
Yeah.
Okay, so so 9th house, yeah, you could be comfortable with, I don't know if like you deal with children, but it's like you could be like comfortable nurturing like 5th house is children too, so that or just like
I'm good with helping children, but as long as I can give them back to their parents, we're
okay.
good.
Yeah, but yeah, this is basically just like your own self versus you need to go towards Capricorn is off top of just saying that you need to go towards being like the more organized. You need to go towards organization, being practical. And you want to embody the planets that are making a conjunction to your north node. This is what you need to embody. Because south node is where we're more comfortable at. But you do have a lot of energy in this area, so this can kind of change the dynamic basically, since you got so much planets in this house. But you need to embody, the sun is again personality, knowing who you are, your identity. Moon is you need to embody again nurturing. You need to embody probably turning even more into the mother, even though you do exemplify this, but you also have to embody this because again, you didn't get that fulfillment from your mother.
Right.
And moon is emotions as well too. So you gotta embody that. Saturn is the same thing as Capricorn, so I don't really need to say what that means.
Got you.
But yeah, these are some things. Another thing I want to say, have you had any issues around like either like health or like coworkers?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Health and I have lupus.
Wow.
So but I mean I'm the healthiest I've been, but yeah, like my whole life I've dealt with health issues all the time. I have asthma too, but And I have
Okay.
rheumatoid arthritis.
I think this is some stuff stemming from past lives because you got Chiron. It's not like so just because I know you going into astrology and all that, or I know you want to do astrology. So always think of it like if I usually look at any type of planet or this is an asteroid, but if it's within 5 degrees of a house,
Hmm.
then this tells us that it's going to affect that house. So
Okay.
it's not in your 6 house. 6 house is health. It's our work, our coworkers.
Right.
But so it's saying that your spiritual wound is also going to affect this area. That's why I asked you, have you had any you good?
Yeah, my eye is just hell itchy. I have this
Okay.
window open.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I was saying. And it's 9 times out of 10 it's stemming from past lives. It's like health issues,
Okay.
issues around coworkers, your daily routines.
I've had a lot of issues with coworkers too, though. Like,
Yeah. You
yeah,
got your spiritual wound is so close to these areas. That's why it's
yeah,
showing
that's
up as that.
crazy. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I would do, I know this is me personally.
Hmm.
'Cause I'm not here to tell you what to do per se, but 6 hours is what we could do for work in our daily routine. So it's like you always want to try to look at what the planet represents. So being that you've had like health issues in your life, basically, it's like you may want to get into like healing. You may want to get into like health work.
Yeah,
You may want to embody that type of energy because you're already going through this basically. You know what I mean? And
that's
it's
on point. That's the goal. So you nailed
yeah,
it.
yeah. Okay, so you said that kind of did show up as
Yeah.
with that spiritual wound, and like I said, it could stem from past life. So yeah, you definitely have a lot of healing you got to do, and you're on the right track. You know what I mean? Just keep pushing, keep going. Um, let's go to your 6 house.
All right.
Okay, so we talked about with 6 house here, you wanna again you have more maternal energy, so you want to nurture people in your daily routines, even in coworkers. If you find that your work life, you're being that you okay, so Cancer here can represent feelings, emotions, sensitivity. So being that it's coming to the 6 house, it's like you need an environment, and you definitely want an environment to where you feel like it's family, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you don't have that, then it could be because, like I said, with Chiron here, this could be like a spiritual wound around coworkers, all that. Um, this is like it can show forth for you being unsettled, basically. So it's
Okay.
like, Cancer. Another thing I want to do too is tell you that the planets and the signs they tell you kind of what you should do if you have issues. So it's like Cancer. What does Cancer rule over? Cancer rules over the home. So literally, you may want to work from home. You may want to work, or it can represent family too. It can represent real estate, interior designing. It's a lot of things that could go out, but you may want to work from home, or just if not, then you just want to have people that you really can rely on and that you fuck with. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But you need deeper connections in these areas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want people to feel like family. That's what it's basically saying. We talked about health issues, or like it could be some stuff. You mentioned lupus. Um, what else do I want to say? Cancer rules over the breast, the stomach, and the chest. So these may be areas that show up too. And then we also Jupiter too. Jupiter will flavor it. So it's like Jupiter is rules over the thighs, the hips, the butt. I don't know if you had any issues in this area, but these are some things that it can show up as what it rules over basically.
Okay.
Um, what else do I want to say? You ever thought about either traveling in your work or like
That's what
teaching?
I want to do. Like, okay. So in 2 months, I'm moving to Arizona with my brother. So
Uh-huh.
that's for work. So when you're like, oh yeah, you want to be next to like a close family because I've had issues with my coworkers, so I'm finally like fixing that wound, and I'm moving to Arizona with my brother to like work from home. And
Wow,
I'm
that's
gonna
right. That's right
Yeah,
there.
so like, so he has his own electrician company, and his wife works from home on the days because she has immune system issues too. So she's like, on the days you can't show up and be an electrician, you can work from home in your bed. And like, I was like,
Mm,
yes, that's so dope. And then when I'm doing that, I can work on my astrology, and then I would love to be able to get myself financially set up so that way I could go and like do like a 6 month lease somewhere, different places, like on like in the United States and stuff, and just like read and just and see where it goes. Like I want to heal on so many different levels. Like I really want to help people. Like I, I need to do this. Like I really want to do this. I hella want to travel too. So yes.
That would see the reason why I was coming to the conclusion of maybe traveling is because you have Sag in your 10th house, that's career, that's exploration, that's traveling.
hmm
Then you
And
got
my
Jupiter in
brother's
your,
a Sagittarius too, the one I'm moving with.
oh, he's a Sag? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a older sibling?
hmm
Which one? Is this the first or second?
He's not my oldest. He's the one closest in age to me.
Okay. So the first house should represent him though.
And then my oldest brother Josh, he's a Pisces ascendant too, and he was born in 1976,
Okay. That's
or
interesting.
1978.
So y'all archetypical or typical energies will be similar with both of y'all having Pisces ascendants.
hmm
That's interesting. But of course the planets could be different as well. With Jupiter here, that's why I was thinking maybe like either teaching or traveling, because that's what it usually represents. And it's also in your 6th house of work and daily routines as well. So I think you're right on track. Like I think you know, just keep going. Just don't give up. Definitely keep going. What else do I see? If we want to talk about Jupiter coming through Leo in the 6th house, it just means, I've told you this before, but you believe in like you believe in being noticed, or you believe in being seen in your work or for your work, your daily routines. It could be even amongst employees. So this is kind of the area you're growing. You got this opposition, so again, that's an obstacle because you also love isolation, which is
Right.
12th house. You love to kind of like retreat, love to escape, basically.
Yep.
You love to be behind the scenes, which is all what the 12th house represents. You love to progress actually in this area because it's coming through Aquarius. Aquarius is progression. So it's about finding a way again to balance out these aspects of yourself. I told you before also that this will mean just if you're looking at the planets, Jupiter making an opposition to Venus means that you're growing the way you grow is opposite of your relationships, basically. That's what it basically tells us. It's kind of like you're growing, even though you do have all this energy, around friends, and you're growing in a way that's kind of like opposite of your relationships. And so there's many ways we could look at the chart basically, but this as an example. Another thing that stood out too is interceptions. So you have your Leo and Aquarius intercepted. So this means, again, this is missing. It means that your Leo energy to a degree is kind of missing, even though you have Jupiter here. And so this will mean that, again, your ability to want to be seen, your ability to want to shine, be noticed, is missing from your chart. And people may look at you more so as like that Cancer energy, because it's coming through the sign of Cancer. So it's that supportive role, that nurturing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But you again with this spiritual wound back to the 5th, you can actually be seen by 5th house is creativity, it's dramatic arts, it's the stage, performance. So this could be a way of healing too, of that getting that recognition as well too, just as an example.
Okay.
Okay, Jupiter's the ideal husband, right?
My ex-fiance was a Leo and I hate him.
Yeah, you need a guy who has Leo qualities. And we're not necessarily talking about sun signs, but that's interesting you say that. Now let me ask you this question. Did you were y'all married, or was it just like
no? Thank God, we were engaged for way too long.
Did you ever have any issues with him in relationships? Like either him like doing him doing stuff,
cheating and shit, and doing dumb shit outside the relationship. Oh yeah,
it's right here in your chart.
Real.
It's right here in your chart though.
So the opposition with Venus and Jupiter in the 6th is that's what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's right here. Like, so
I wish I was into astrology when I was with him.
Yeah, it's all good. I wish I knew about some of this shit when I was younger too, man. That shit would have saved me fucking a lot of hardship, because it's like I wish I kind of knew about this shit too, because it would have saved me certain stuff. But the reason why like I said, I asked if you had any issues with him in like relationships, because Jupiter, which represent him, is sitting it's making an opposition to Venus, which is your relationships.
And then in the 12th house of things done behind this hidden shit.
Yeah.
That's
Because you
crazy.
got to think of it too. You're more private with your relationships too, with your Venus in 12. So he may have came off that way too, because this is what you attract. Venus is what we also attract as well.
Mhm.
I did the first reading I ever did was a woman. I did her chart, and she had her Venus sign, and it was making a square to her Jupiter. So I asked the same thing. I'm like, yo, did you ever have any issues with like your husband and stuff, or which was her ex-husband? She was like, yeah, she had issues with him trying to fuck around with her girlfriends and shit like that, basically.
Yeah, my best friend at the time. He
Yeah,
was in her wedding, fucking on her sister, and
shit
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Just like what the fuck?
It's right
Grimy.
there. Let's go to the descendant, which is the seventh house cusp and stuff. Excuse me if I'm moving kind of slow. I know it's already
Oh, you're
11:21.
good. Like I'm all ears. Like take your time. I don't care.
Okay, so you got Virgo here on this 11th house cusp. Virgo, I mean, seventh house is, it's the house of Libra. So this is like partnerships. This is relationships. This can literally mean your first marriage. Um, it can mean the second marriage is seen from the ninth house. Third marriage, if somebody gets married 3 times, would be the energy of the 11th house. But
Okay.
yeah, this is marriage, partnerships, contracts can be seen from this house, and open enemies as well. 12th house is hidden enemies, 7th house is open enemies. So you're drawn to people who are again, Virgo is
Bad
work.
for me.
That's funny. That's funny.
Sorry.
No, that's all good. It's all good.
My dad was a Virgo too.
Okay. But that might mean actually that so his sun sign will be coming into your 7th house. I'm not a synastry expert or nothing, but his sun sign would have probably been into your coming to this house. But yeah, you're drawn to people, and this is also how you show up too, because you got to also think about it like every area of life. This is the energy we're projecting, so this is why this is coming back to us too. So a lot of times we blame others for shit, but it's really
I'm fucking
us.
nurturing, damn it. Because
What
that
happened?
damn 4th house energy, I'm all nurturing and shit. So I attract the people who are damaged so I can help them.
Oh, you talking about the 5th house? 5th house, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just putting it together in my head as you're breaking it down. It's like I'm putting the energy out there because I'm too fucking nurturing. Like I need to get it on lock because I'm attracting all these. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, you being a mother in that area, yeah.
Yeah, like every relationship I've been in has just been like me building that person up before I leave them.
Well, I just say like this: it's time, Riley. It's time to pour that energy within yourself.
Yes.
It's time to especially you say you moving, you got plans and stuff. Make that shit happen. At the end of the day,
That's happening.
yeah,
You're
make
about
that
to
shit
watch it
happen.
happen, so you'll see.
Okay. So yeah, Virgo though in the 7th. Virgo's ruled by Mercury, so you need and you like people who are intellectuals. You like someone who's organized. They may even keep you organized as well too.
Mhm.
So organization, maybe someone who's about health. Or you can attract these type of people basically because Virgo is the medical field. It represents health, service, things of these natures. People basically into this field of life. One thing I want to say though is that you're kind of you could be a bit critical in your partnership. You could be very picky, very nitpicky, or like analytical in this area. You know what I mean? So you just want to be mindful of that.
I gotta
You can,
chill.
yeah, you can. Now, I mean, I can't necessarily say chill because it's a part of you. It's ingrained. This is who you are. You know what I mean? But also, like I said, we always want to look at the positive sides of the energy. So you want to try to help out partnerships through like helping other people maybe be organized and stuff, which is all Virgo in this house. Because the other side is just being very critical, over analyzing everything. Virgo doesn't necessarily like to be here because it's like relationships should be about love, and it's like we are more so like analyzing everything when we got
Yeah.
Virgo here. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I have a similar energy. I'm just gonna be completely transparent. I got Mercury in my 7th house. It's the same energy.
Okay, so you understand.
Yeah. A lot of shit I can see in your chart. I have similar energy. I'm like,
Okay,
dang,
cool. I'm like, I'm glad someone understands.
yeah. I got issues. Listen, I got issues too. I ain't gonna sit here and act like I got this. Like I'm just. Don't look at me like that. I'm trying to figure this shit out too. I ain't gonna sit here. I'm not gonna front you. Oh yeah, I'm just googling. Nah.
No, you're good.
You know, rambling on.
No, you're cool.
Virgo in the 7th house. Contracts. If you ever decide to get into any type of business, with people, just make sure that you're on top of the details of things, because again, you attract people who are very meticulous, very detail orientated. So this deals with contracts and it deals with open enemies. So if you're not on top of your game, then you can attract people who get looking at the details and contracts and getting over on you basically, because you're not seeing the fine line of things. What else? And how I was saying, you can come off a bit more critical in this area. You can attract partners who are that way towards you too. That's basically how we can look at it.
Come out my relationships, friendships too.
Yeah, it's a part. I get it. 7th house is connected to your 10th house. The ruler Mercury is sitting in the 10th house, so it's interesting. I got the same dynamic. You need a partner who is about their legacy, their career, their reputation, their status. You need a boss type of person, basically. That's how I'm looking at it,
Seriously.
Yeah. What else do I see? Let's talk about open enemies contract. Let's go to your 8th house. So 8th house is in Libra. 8th house is intimacy. Besides the Mars sign, 8th house tells us about sex as well too. So now we find out your deep personal shit. You know what I mean?
Man, let's go. Let's do it. You got some popcorn or what?
No, I'm fucking with you. So you got Libra here. So intimacy. Again, like I said, you like fairness. You like diplomacy. You come off this way and you want that in return, basically, even in like your sexual intimate life. Maybe if you give in this area, then you want to receive the same thing. So I can play out whatever way. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna go too deep into that what that can mean, but what else? Your intimate life. People have Libra characteristics. So this is like very charming, very attractive. You can be drawn to people who are into Libra. Can deal with arts. It deals with beauty. So maybe models. I know you said you did some modeling and stuff, but it deals with arts. It deals with law, because it's the scales. In the Kemetic pantheon, this would be like Mayat, basically, which is like the scales, balance, reciprocity.
Okay.
Divine cosmic order, in terms of the deity. But yeah, you like fairness, diplomacy. It does say though that you can like in a marriage or so, you can actually inherit through that relationship when you got Libra here, and you can inherit stuff through your relationships, even though it's a critical energy here, Virgo here. You can actually inherit through your relationships with Libra on this 8th house cusp, and that can play out in different ways. Like Libra deals again with arts, so maybe like paintings, stuff like that. Trying to think what else. Arts. I don't know. It's not coming to me right now, but
it's all good.
8th house is, we talked about it's joint resources and shared resources.
Okay.
So what do I want to say about Libra in this house? We talked about the polarities. Excuse me, I already said that you can inherit through like relationships that you're in. Sex, death, intimacy. Let me look at my notes real quick because I feel like I'm forgetting something.
It's all good.
This house tells us about, and I don't know if you want to know about this.
Yeah, I want to know it all.
Okay, so this house deals with death, basically. So I'm not saying when you're gonna die. I'm not predicting that at all, but it's saying kind of the energy what it can be upon.
Okay.
So Libra deals with sweets. So you just want to, I don't know if you eat a lot of sweets or overindulgence, but it can deal with that. It can deal with Libra rules over the kidneys.
I have a lot of I had a lot of kidney issues,
Okay. So that's probably
honestly.
something that as you move forward, you want to definitely tap into.
Okay.
It could deal with like diabetes, but you say you don't really eat sweets. But
Yeah,
Libra is
no.
just the kidneys. It's
Like I
something
had kidney stones and stuff, like when I was doing all the like the research and everything for it, like it could be like from just like drinking like different like sodas and shit too, like from all of the additives in it and all the sugars that can because there's different kind of kidney stones and everything, so that makes a lot of sense because I don't eat sweets. I don't really care for them too much. Like I used to sell my candy on Halloween when I was young. I didn't care. But
okay.
yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. I've been like, I won't drink soda anymore. I only drink water. Like I've been eating hella better. Just I'm trying to filter out my kidneys because I still have two kidney stones. They suck.
Uh,
They suck.
let's go to your ninth house. Ninth house is your father. Again, we said that being that you have Scorpio on this house and you have Pluto, um, again, it's like your father is secretive. Your father's a mystery with him, which we stated. Power struggles, same type of issues, basically, in terms of your dynamic. Now, this house represents our philosophical outlook and our beliefs. So it just tells us that you're more private with your beliefs. You're more you can be more like secretive in this area. With Pluto here though, Pluto coming through Scorpio in the ninth house is like you. I would think you obsess deeply about spirituality or just
Mhm.
philosophy or things
Yep.
of that nature.
Oh yeah.
Because Pluto is obsession. Um, let's see. And then it's like also you do a lot of you would be the type to do it like investigate a lot though within like I said different belief systems and shit like that. You could be the
Hmm.
type that investigates a lot when you got Scorpio in this house. What else? What else? What else? Yeah, it's more deeper as opposed to superficial. Now this house deals with post high school education. So Scorpio can rule over anything from taxes and debts. I don't know if you ever went into that, but it just can show that. It can show dealing with like the deceased, so like a mortician, uh, funeral work, even life after death, studying in these areas.
I like to
Um,
study in those areas a lot.
what happened?
I like to study in those areas a lot.
Yeah, any form of mystery, any form of occult stuff,
Hmm.
criminal investigations,
Hmm.
um, conspiracy theorists can be, or
Oh
not
yes.
conspiracy theorists, but
Get all the way down. Like I will follow the trail and like just go down a rabbit hole on just like a genre and like just go crazy for like 2 days sometimes. Like
yeah. Um, anything too that deals with like this can deal with like um any form of divination. So astrology. Astrology could be something where you educate yourself at tarot, um, astrology, tarot, any form of divination, basically. Um, any form of psychology. Again, Scorpio deals with that type of energy as well. And then this house represents in-laws. If you ever guess where to get married, or even if you're not, I guess physically, not physically, but if you're not officially married to someone, I think that energy could still be prevalent though. Like even though you say you were engaged but weren't married, I think
hmm.
if you're like it's almost could be considered maybe a marriage, like if you're with somebody for a long
Yeah.
time or staying with them,
Hmm.
or vice versa. You know what I mean? Y'all living together, but Scorpio on this ninth house is like um again secrecy with in-laws. Basically, it could be like some private privacy in this area, basically, or you not knowing certain things about them, or vice versa.
Well, for sure. I didn't know shit. Little secretive
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
Yeah. So in return, it's like, okay, well then you got to be more secretive too. Then,
Oh, I was. I'm like,
yeah.
fuck y'all. Y'all shit, play with me if you want
But
to.
like I said, this is energy that we embody and energy outside of us that we attract. You know what I mean? So, um, ninth house is publishing would be anything of occult matters. It could be like, Scorpio is a sign of sex, so anything about like sexual stuff, sex industry, sex education. Again, psychology work, which we already talked about, just basically around these same realms as well. Ninth house is connected to, let's see, ninth house is connected to the rulers in the ninth house, and it's in the third house. When I see the ninth house and the ruler Pluto in the same house that it rules over, sometimes it makes me think, like, was your father kind of like focused on himself, or like, kind of selfish?
Anyone he could use to benefit off of, he did and would.
Yeah.
He was very selfish.
Okay. Also, too, the third house is like your father being in areas that deal with communication, same thing, or like in your neighborhood, maybe he was known, or
he was wild. He was well known, like, and just he was hella known by everybody. So like, if you like, my last name is Egan, that's his last name. I don't know any of his family other than my brothers, and we met later, but he was hella known. He was wild. He was crazy as fuck too.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So he was wild as fuck. He was so known in so many different areas. Like, he could have been so dope, but he decided to do fucked up shit with himself instead. Whatever.
And he probably been through a lot of shit too, though.
Oh yeah, he was
with the Scorpio here on the house that represents him. But I was just saying, I think that maybe he was like in your neighborhood or known in your neighborhood, because it's like the ninth house, which will represent him, is deposited into the house that represents your immediate community, your neighborhood. Okay. So that's kind of why I kind of came to that conclusion. Okay. Let's go to the 10th house. We're almost done. 10th house is basically, of course, your career, and it's like authority figures. So this is the area you want to grow in and you want to expand. When you got Sag here, you want to expand and grow in your career. Again, we talked about Sag is a sign that represents higher philosophies and just traveling. So this can actually show up as you wanting to do this in your career, maybe even teaching. Sag rules over horses, so like stuff with archery. I'm just giving examples, by the way. Mm-hmm. But archery, it rules over, it's the bow and arrow, basically. Right. Rules over horses, so doing stuff like a horse trainer, horse rider, things of that nature. Sag rules over, it could actually be entertainment, and the only reason I'm saying that is because when you think of entertainers, they travel for work or for their career. Okay. And then this could actually be like a stewardess, like someone who works in airports, someone who works in
I've worked in the airport before.
Oh wow.
Oakland Airport. I've worked in the Oakland Airport.
That's interesting. Okay. See, I didn't know that, but it's just falling up somewhere along the line of this energy. What else? There's something else I was gonna say. A theologian, so theologians is someone who studies religion and things of that nature. A teacher of some sort.
I could see myself doing something like that for sure. Like, for sure.
Yeah, I could see that with your chart too.
Even like a podcast, because I have a podcast. I bought all the stuff for it. I just haven't done it yet. See, this is what I do.
What's up with you know what it is? I think that's that Taurus and Mars. Because I know somebody else with Taurus and Mars, and they be taking their time. I'm like, yo.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, this is why I need people around me, like my network of friends, to like get my ass going. Like, my best friend's a Gemini, so she gets me going, but I keep her grounded because she's all over the place.
Okay. It's interesting how we just with relationships, how it's like we give and take from others, and how we show up in other people's lives, and vice versa, just with the energies. If you want to do podcasts, I would suggest it, because you got Mercury in your 10th house. Mercury is what? Communication. So Riley, come on, we gotta get some fire in the ass.
I know.
We gotta get some fire in the ass. We gotta make sure happen.
I need you to get you need to. Yeah, I can't do. Yeah, I need somebody to tell me get the fuck up off your ass. The fuck is you
Yeah.
doing?
But the thing about Mars and Taurus, again, it's slower to act, right? Slower to move. But once you get going though,
Yeah, that momentum is hard to stop.
yeah, once you get going, this is the bull. So it's like you're more persevering, basically. You could actually go the distance. That's the positive thing about that energy.
Good.
If you want to think about it, matter of fact, always remember this. If you ever feel like you're not motivated or you're moving too slow, somebody who has Mars and Cancer, you probably won't believe. I mean, not Mars and Cancer, Mars and Taurus.
Yeah.
It's a celebrity. It's a lot of celebrities, of course, that had that, but celebrity who, I don't know if you're gonna guess it, but I'll just say 50 Cent. He has his Mars and Taurus,
Okay.
and that nigga's a go getter.
Yeah, he is.
Riley, there's no excuses. You know what I mean?
I know it. I need to stop fucking playing with this energy. Like,
yeah, once you get going, you know what I mean? So he has basically the same type of energy with how he acts, with how he directs his energy. It's a bit more slower, but once he gets going,
it's good.
Yeah, he could go further than others in terms of distance. So just always keep that in the back of your head, to remind you, like, if he can do it, then
All right.
So yeah, Mercury here is just like any type of communications. Mercury rules over the hands. So this can be like a massage therapist, a mechanic.
Well, I'd love to be a mechanic, but my hands won't let me.
What happened with your hands?
Well, I've had 4 surgeries on my boxers fracture, and then the arthritis now. Wow. It sucks. Yeah.
Yo, you're gonna be a great healer. You're gonna be a great. I'm telling you, because you've been through a lot of shit. This is the type of people that people need, that are just relatable, like people who've been through the mud and that have been through like ups and downs and shit. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You going through this shit.
Ooh, I'm excited. This is the first time I really chose myself. Like, you know what I mean? I never really chose myself before. Like, I was too afraid to, I guess.
Nah, don't be afraid.
I'm not afraid no more.
Yeah,
Took me 31 years, but hey, we're here.
Yeah. What else do I see? Mercury can rule over short distance travels. I don't really consider this a career, but Mercury can literally like deal with like
Uber for now.
Yeah, postal worker or Uber. I was gonna say too. Yeah. Cab driver. You said that's what you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that type of energy too. Since it deals with short distance travels.
Okay.
Wow, you know what I just thought about? You gonna look at me like I'm crazy.
I doubt it.
I didn't think about this shit before, right? Okay, you said that you were well, first off, your Mercury's in Capricorn, so your siblings, they were about their career, their legacy.
Yeah, they are now.
Okay, their reputation, same energy. So Mercury also, you can look at as the sibling, it represents sibling.
Okay.
Just so you know, for instance.
Okay.
Moving forward.
That's dope.
Now, with Mercury coming through Capricorn, I said they were focused on their career. But check this out. Didn't you just say how you were moving to you said you were moving where?
Arizona. Okay, with so my brother.
Yeah.
For work. And he's a Sag.
Huh?
And he's a Sagittarius.
Oh, it was not sad, but what did I just say? Remember I said Mercury,
yeah.
Mercury is coming into your house of career, which would be a sibling.
And then it's see, it expresses itself right there.
Hey, I can't make this up. I didn't even think about that.
That's wild.
It's right there.
I never seen that. So like when I was looking at it before, like when I was looking at my chart, I seen the Jupiter in the 6th house. So I was just like, oh, okay, like because Jupiter like was ruling over Sag or whatever. So I was like, oh, okay, is like, so I'm my day-to-day work and my health, because he's helped me with my health too. He actually got me sober. So that was dope. And so it's like just seeing it express itself different ways is crazy, because I used to see it. I'm like, oh shit, he had like my whole day-to-day work and routine, and my health is going to improve. I got Jupiter right there in the 6th house. I was like, but the only thing I was like, I seen it opposing my Venus in the 12th house. So I was like, oh, my values is like, you know, I want to be spiritual too. Like I want to do my spirituality and like my magic. And I got to wait till I get out of his house because he has kids and just, you know what I'm saying? Just fun stuff. But I was like, oh, it's look at like, I need to find a way to balance those two energies because I'm going to do both of them. Because I was like, at first I used to look at the oppositions like issues, like, you know what I mean? But I'm like, no, that's an equation that you have to solve. So I was like, that's how I was
Yes.
looking at it before. So now I'm able to like look at it like an equation instead of an issue.
Yeah, it's just I was watching some astrology. I can't think of the person's name, but they were talking about how most people who successful have more squares in their chart. They have more
Because you have to
squares,
work
more
through them,
opposition.
so you get more answers. You have more experience because you're doing more work to try to work it all out.
Yeah, you're going through more
So
struggles. Like me,
yeah,
I have a I have a square too within mine. I mean, I not have a square. I have I have squares and oppositions within my chart as well too. But it's like I have a lot of shit that I have issues around, just like I'm trying to overcome. But it's like I've had to kind of, this is why I've had to like kind of get into astrology, and it helped me to understand myself
yeah,
and learn that why do my other family members act the way they act towards me, or why is it that I'm having these issues with family, or it
yeah.
shows right in my chart. But yeah, it's just the red lines. Well, from what this person was saying, it's like, okay, well, a chart that I think it was a woman, if I remember correctly. I'll be watching so many different videos, but she was saying how a chart that she did with it, the person literally had no squares of opposition. They only had like, they call them, like soft aspects, the blue lines, basically
Right.
sextiles and trines. And this person, it can make you lazy. She was saying, to the point where this person basically, when things hit them hard, like when the planets are transiting, they hit us in hard ways. They didn't know how to deal with it because they didn't go through shit.
Yeah,
So
I can
that's
see.
something else to think about.
I like the aspect of that.
Yeah. 10th house is authority figures too. Um, Actually, excuse me, before I say that, with Mercury in your 10th house, it tells us that you could be the type that changes your career too.
Okay.
Mercury, Mercury is change as well. Um, Also, 10th house is authority figures, so you may find like you have authority figures that are, maybe they will support you, but at the same time, they may be always on the move, on the go,
Okay.
in terms of what can show up. And communication again can be prevalent within your career as well, even with authority figures. Is what it's showing.
That
Um,
makes sense too.
yeah. Let's go to this 11th house. This famous 11th house, which we got a
This
lot of.
damn stellium over
Yeah, we
here.
got a lot of fucking energy
I know it.
in this house. So some of this we broken down. Let's see. We want to consider Mercury, matter of fact, in the 11th house because it's so close to the 11th house. It's within. Looks like it's within 5 degrees. Let me see.
Yep.
Yeah, it's within 5 degrees. It's about 3 degrees away from one. Mercury is at the first degree in Capricorn. Then you got, this house starts at 4 degrees in Capricorn. So,
Okay.
again, communication could be, definitely prevalent in your friendships. But again, like I told you before, Mercury and Gemini as well too, since it rules over that, it's kind of a fickle energy. So this can show that, and it can show this change in this area, basically. But you may like to talk to friends, basically, with this energy. Neptune here just tells us again, you dream in this area, you're very idealistic, but you don't always see things clearly. So it does tell us that you can attract people who, either your friends may see you as like not always like realistic, or vice versa. You can see them as that. Positive side is friends you can attract, of course, is spiritual friends, friends that are healers, maybe friends that are into like arts of any sort, poetry, painting, like I've already stated. And you could come off as this way too, the things that you're into. Aquarius here means that you need, I said Aquarius, I meant Uranus here means that you need freedom in your friendships, as well. We talked about the sun, the moon. So I don't really need to say what that means. I would think too, your beliefs are kind of unconventional when it comes to like traditional friendship.
Yeah.
It's a bit different. It's something because Neptune's beliefs, Uranus is unconventional. as well.
Very unconventional, much that I do.
Yeah. Um, Capricorn. I'm in Capricorn. I'm in Saturn. Saturn here in this house means you attract elderly people. You attract older people, maybe more mature people, and you could come off that way as well too with friends. There can be some restrictions in this area of friendships as well. And this house represents our goals. So it's like our goals, aspirations, hopes, and wishes. So it's a lot of things that you could actually be into. Like we already know that you want to be the boss type, you want to be the authority with Capricorn here.
Mm-hmm.
But Mercury, of course, is we say communications. Um, Uranus is like Uranus just rules over friends, period, even though it represents the element of freedom and detachment. Neptune here can be dreams of healing others. Again, any form of entertainment or arts. Moon here is dreams centered around maybe family or home. The sun is a dream about you shining. It's like, okay, you can have dreams about maybe, and this could show up as like, again, being like a actor,
always like pictured myself as being famous as a child, but being famous gives me the craziest anxiety. I'm like, oh God, no. I don't know if I want that much attention. No. But yeah, I hear you. I see what you're saying. I need to be seen.
Yeah. I have a similar energy. I got Leo in my 11th house. So and I got my car around here. So it's like I'm basically, and also too, remember all these are the internet too. This could be how you're seeing it
right.
social media. 11th house is technology and shit. So your son here, this is like you're supposed to be seen in this area or amongst groups of people. You're supposed to be an individual basically in this area. You're supposed to be shining the light as having a defined personality.
I remember I used to when I was young. You remember Xanga and MySpace and shit? Did you ever have Xanga?
MySpace, not that.
You didn't but have you ever heard of it?
No.
It was like, but you remember like MySpace? It was all like coding where you made like your own page and shit. Like
yeah.
I used to have an Xanga. So Xanga was like a fan page kind of thing, but you could do your blogs and write stuff on it, kind of like MySpace too. But I used to like make. I was by myself on there. Like I used to have like thousands. I had like 14,000 followers back it when I was like 12. Like just making people's pages and shit. Literally, I need to tap back into that, Riley. Like she didn't have a fuck to give to nobody but herself. We getting back to her. I need to do something on the internet because I used to be, it was popping. Like they came to me too. That's why I'm like, I need to get back to it.
Jupiter is transiting your first house. So it's like you're going through growth with yourself. It's something with you in growth, basically.
That's on point as fuck.
Huh?
That's on point as fuck.
But I just know that Jupiter is in Pisces, so it will be transiting your first house, which is yourself. So you're going to be going through some type of growth. And remember too, yes. Jupiter is traveling. It's foreign lands. So what is that?
Crazy, and I'm traveling. Like that's crazy.
This is the energy.
Oh, that's so dope.
Let's go to the final house. Final house is Capricorn. It's actually in Capricorn. So this Aquarius is intercepted. Aquarius intercepted can mean like your sense of like, again, originality is kind of like missing, or your sense of like genius, your quirky side. And it's like, okay, you come off as more Capricorn, which is more traditional, more Capricorn is tradition. It's like the practical world basically, but Aquarius is kind of like futuristic and new.
I used the way exactly how you started saying it in the beginning, like my quirky side, like me, like it's missing. It is.
Okay.
We're trying to look for it.
Okay. So yeah,
that's crazy how that just expressed itself. Because yeah, okay, that worked out perfect. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to see if that resonated with you.
Yeah, it does. Like, I usually am never this quiet. Like you are. This was a spot on.
Okay, I'm glad. I just want you to get something out of it. You know what I mean?
Oh, I got plenty out of it. Like, wait until I get to this review. Like, I'm gonna do a review on every outlet that I can for you. This was dope, and you can use whatever you need. You can post whatever. I don't care.
Okay, I appreciate it. I really do.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So let's see. Capricorn is our serious side. That's our serious side. So this is ingrained within your subconscious mind as well. but you kind of suppress this though at the same time, even though you could come off as that way because it's intercepted in society to where you suppress your more quirky side and you come off as more with your first house, you come off as more again like compassionate and like more the savior, more the healing energy type.
Yeah.
But you suppress your serious side basically. As well.
That's
Whatever's in
super
this
on
12th house
point.
is what we suppress, huh?
That's super on point.
Yeah, whatever's in this 12th house is what we suppress, and in the first house is what we give off, basically how we act. This is like our mask, basically.
Okay.
We also got to take into consideration you got Venus here. So what is Venus? Excuse me, what is Venus? Venus is our values, our self-worth. So some things around suppression is even beauty. I'm sure you're probably unclear on things around beauty with you, basically, or worthiness.
Yeah.
As this could this can be with deeply ingrained within your subconscious mind, but the 12th house we don't always see clearly.
Oh
basically.
yeah. That's yep.
So it's just about knowing your own worth, knowing your own your values, your beauty, all these things, which is Venus. And another thing I want to say is this house deals with our secret sorrows as we suppress these things. So secret sorrows, Venus is relationships, stuff around relationships that's showing up.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I'm working on letting go of.
Yeah. So 12th house you can look at as the subconscious mind. Whatever's in here is like, okay, this is the stuff we got to tap into. And it may even be through reprogramming the mind, reprogramming the subconscious mind. So this could be like stuff around like your worthiness, again, your values, even beauty. If you feel like you don't feel this way all the time, or you weren't acknowledged. Venus is again our, excuse me for when I'm clicking. Venus is our how do I say it? Our love language.
Okay.
As well. It's our love language. It's what we love. So, Venus and Aquarius, very unconventional in your love life, basically. Sometimes I've seen it show up as like open relationships, or I've seen this as like bisexuality or gay. It can show up as that too. It doesn't have to be, but it just can show up as that. And then also you need freedom. Again, it's another indication of you need freedom in your relationships. And in particular, again, it's just saying that 12th house is like isolation, it's retreat mode. It's there's a spirituality too, but this is what you love. So you love these areas of life. You love to you may love to go ghost at times, even though you have a lot of energy around friends.
I'm either all the way there or you can't reach me.
Yeah. So the 4th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house are hidden houses. Okay. So these are like they're water houses, so they're more private. So whatever's in these houses is what we suppress. And excuse me, not necessarily suppress, but we hide or
private.
Yeah. Let's see. So we talked about Venus here. You could be a bit, secretive with your relationships, you know what I mean, as well, when you got it coming through here. And also Venus is how you make your money. Now, what does Aquarius rule over? Aquarius rules over
people.
Yes, friends, groups of people. You can make money through these areas. Okay. Also, you need to take an unconventional approach to how you make money. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend gambling because Venus is how you make money. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Uranus is sudden changes.
Okay.
So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that.
Good thing I don't like to gamble.
So you like to gamble?
I said it's a good thing. I mean, I enjoy it, but I mean, I don't. Yeah, I won't be gambling for money.
Okay. Well, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just and then also what I would suggest is that you use the energy of the sign and the house to make money. So it's like Aquarius is friends, groups of people. It's technology and science. It rules over actually astrology too, because astrology is a science. Okay. So you can make money. It's saying you can make money through astrology.
Or you can
make money.
Like we're about to.
And you need to make money in an unconventional way, because being that you can it could be like sudden changes with how you make money. Maybe a conventional 9 to 5, maybe not your thing.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
Yeah. So you need to make money. And then Aquarius is the internet. So you could utilize the internet if you want to. Or just your social networks, acquaintances as well. then the 12th house, 12th house is 12th house actually can show you making money from like working in 12th house is like foreign lands.
Okay.
Ninth house is too, but 12th house is foreign lands. They both ruled by Jupiter. So foreign lands. This can also talk about making money through institutions that are isolated. So this can show up as like hospitals working in these areas,
Okay.
prison wards, like I said prison wards, prisons, psych wards, monasteries, so just as an example.
Okay.
And this house again, this is a Pisces house, so Pisces also rules over, just like Leo, Pisces rules over entertainment. It rules over Hollywood illusions. So it could be money. It could be money made through that, through
Okay.
music, which is all what Pisces can deal with. Through what else?
Through music, you said?
Yeah, Pisces can deal with arts. Arts is
okay then.
Yeah. So we said music, arts, spirituality, which is 12th house too. Any of these things. Mediumship work could be seen from the 12th house. So yeah, you're on the right
dope
track.
that you said that. She's the psychic lady. Like she was like, you need she was saying that I have a lot of spiritual healing to do, but once I do that and like get my chakras aligned, I have a lot of work to do down the line. But she was like, you have psychic abilities, you just have a lot of healing to do so you can access. She was like,
I sense that from you. I sense that. I
was like,
everything
oh my
saying.
gosh.
I sense you got a lot of healing to do too, but I sense that you can really make this shit happen.
There, I
start
feel
with yourself.
it.
Yeah, start with yourself.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. I'm telling you, like
that's
it's
just
already
so
written.
dope. I should have
written.
dove into me a long time ago. Like I would have been happy a long time ago. Like it's just so crazy, everything coming into full circle. And like the things that you say and that she was saying, because she had no idea I was into astrology or nothing. So it's just a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
That's dope.